She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another dame, she solving another case. Cause she litigate with dignity and grace. She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another dame, she solving another case. Cause she litigate with dignity and grace.
Hello, litigators and opinionators. Court is now in session. How is everyone doing? This is crazy, but not surprising. If you guys have been following me, I've been covering this very just devastating story about a 7-year-old boy who was kidnapped, and pretty much this Milwaukee and the whole entire country, I was out here trying to find this little boy. Well, guys, this whole case has turned into a complete crazy reality that the mama is a drug dealer, y'all. Now, we talked about this in part two and part one. Mom is a well known drug dealer. And I was telling you guys in the prior videos covering this story that the mother, or she and the father, were involved in some sketchy stuff. The father was preaching and talking about trap music, which is the sale of drugs. And then mother's out here flashy, flaunting all these clothes and expensive outfits. Well, guys, the news has come out, and the truth has come out about why this little boy was kidnapped. And why is she now in jail on a violation of her parole because she is a career drug dealer? And I believe her underlying charges for why she was convicted before was for felony drugs, selling drugs. I don't know that for sure. Again, that's allegedly. But I talked about in part one part two, that this man, Corey Williams, was arrested, and he was following the mother on Instagram. Now it all makes sense that this man knew the mother, right? He knew the mother, and there was a 14-year-old boy that was associated with this man, Corey Williams. And they would talk on the phone, which I don't know how this all happened. I guess they were associates or something because the mom was selling drugs. Maybe she was selling the drugs to them. But when there was a 14-year-old boy associated with Corey Williams would talk to little baby Jay's mother on the phone, she would flash big dollar bills. Now, here on the screen, this is the twin brother of the father of little baby Jay, which is the boy that was kidnapped. His name is actually Jamal. He was arrested because after little baby Jay, I'll call him baby Jay, was kidnapped, he became very paranoid that these robbers were going to return back for him and his brother, who was actually involved in was actually being robbed. And so when he saw a car driving near his house, he panicked and he shot at the car. Come to find out, the car that was driving near his house was a man and his son who felt so sad for the little boy being kidnapped because he saw the ring camera and he was actually a neighbor in the neighborhood, and he was trying to help find the son. So after the shooting happened, that neighbor, felt, like he didn't want to take part in it anymore because he was traumatized. Well, Jamel actually missed the target that he was trying to shoot, and he shot into someone's house. Luckily, no one got killed, luckily, and no one was shot. But he is now facing felony charges. He tried to hide the firearm, and the officers ended up finding that firearm. Now, there's so many confusion in here because the father of little baby Jay is a twin to this man. So we have Jamal, who is the father of baby Jay, who's Jamal White. They're juniors. Then we have Jamal. So their names are so similar. I called him Jamal. Now back to this lady here on the screen. So this woman, Siobhan Williams, is the mother of little baby Jay, who was kidnapped. Now the story gets crazy. So because I told you she knew the suspect, and the 14-year-old that she used to go on camera, I don't know, FaceTime with. I don't know why she was FaceTiming the 14-year-old. Like I said, maybe they were one of her clients that she was selling drugs to. I don't know. I'm suspecting. So when she would ever be on FaceTime with the 14-year-old who was associated with Corey Williams, the 14-year-old would see her flashing stacks of money. Now, this has been a problem with individuals who sell drugs. They love to flaunt their money around, which makes absolutely zero sense to me, guys. I don't know why they like to flaunt their money, but they do. And that was the same issue that we seen with little baby Jay's father, as I showed you in part one. He was flashing his stacks of dollar bills and just, on his little social media, y'all acting like he was a baller when in reality, that just made them a target. But in this case, it was actually baby Jay's mother who was the one who was the target of the people who knew her, which was Corey Williams and the 14-year-old. So the 14-year-old who saw baby Jay's mother flashing these stacks of money and so forth. And like I told you, the father was doing the same thing. Let me show you a photo if you guys don't remember. Father's doing the same thing, flashing all this money on social media. Okay. So that was the same thing that little Corey Williams' mother was doing. She would be on the phone with, not Corey Williams, baby Jay's mother was doing, sorry. She would be on the phone with Corey Williams. I don't know if the 14-year-old is related to Corey Williams, the suspect that got arrested. Here, I'll go back to him. But there was a 14-year-old associated with him. So the 14-year-old told Corey Williams, hey, let's rob Siobhan Williams, which is the mother of little baby Jay. A 14-year-old that kept seeing all that money told Corey Williams, let's rob her. Let's go over there and get some money from her. So at first they went over to her house, okay? She wasn't there. So they was like, well, let's go to the father's house. Because, I mean, why not? He's over here flashing all this money too. So he obviously has some money. So they just went and said, since they couldn't find Siobhan, they're going to go ahead and rob the baby daddy, okay? So I don't know if baby daddy was on he had his visitation time with the little boy. So the 14-year-old and Corey Williams, the man that's arrested so far, there's 3 people that were arrested associated with this crime. The 14-year-old and the lady who was involved in this whole crime, they're not arrested just yet, but they're going to be arrested. I'm not sure if they're on the run or what's going on with them. But basically, Corey Williams was the driver. He had no mask on. He was driving the car. There were 2 individuals that came out the car. One went after the father to try to rob him, and one went after the son. The father got away, so they took the second option. They got the son so that they could use him for ransom. And what they did was the little boy was talking to law enforcement, and he told law enforcement that he overheard a conversation between his mother and Corey Williams while he was, kidnapped. He was placed in this trap house that I showed you before, in the top floor. So he overheard Corey Williams talking to his mom while he was like literally being with these crazy people. He didn't know who they were. And his mom was like, okay, I'll come pick him up. But basically what they told her on the phone was, you need to bring $100,000 plus any jewelry that they saw her flashing on social media. This is the problem with people flashing stuff on social media. They're going to make themselves a target. And obviously she was a well-known drug dealer, which is why she has these felony charges. Okay. So what ends up happening, y'all, so she said she was going to come pick him up. The little boy is so sad because she never comes. When he gets questioned by law enforcement, he tells law enforcement, my mom never showed up. So what I think happened is she probably called the police to like basically tell them where they were going to meet up. Maybe that's what I'm suspecting. That's a speculation. I don't know that for sure. Anyways, after the cops found them, he ended up arresting her for violation of parole, and also because Corey Williams he's talking, right? He's telling the officers everything of what's going on. He's facing over 100 years in prison if he gets convicted of all those charges he has. So he has some pretty serious felony charges, and it didn't even get what they wanted. And can you believe this man? He's supposed to be 27 or 38. I don't know which one it is because the people out here say different numbers, okay? But either way, this man allowed a 14-year-old boy to convince him to go rob somebody and kidnap a kid. That don't make any sense. And the little kid basically said it was the 14-year-old that grabbed him. The one that, made this whole thing up. It was the 14-year-old that grabbed him, put him in the car, and then the other guy, they just took off. So there was the little boy says there was 3 people in the car. So one was Corey Williams. Corey Williams was the driver. And then the 2 individuals that stepped out the car to basically try to rob the father and try to, basically they just took the little boy as like their last option. Their first option was to go after the mom. So mom's out here acting a fool. Now I learned a little bit more background information about the mom and the father and their relationship. It turns out that Jamal, the twin here, he started a relationship with Siobhan Williams when he was in middle school. They were together for many, many years. I mean, like, I don't know, it was probably like 6 or 7 years, if not more. And they were together even up to the point where they had little cute baby Jay. Little baby Jay here. He's so cute, right? They had him. She has two kids. The other kid was, I guess, the child's to another man's child. It was not his child. I don't know. People are saying it's not his child, but look, he holding that baby. So maybe he has a baby too. Okay. People out here, people say all kind of stuff, right? But he was in a relationship with the mom since middle school. They go way back. You see, this was back in 2019. Happy Mother's Day to my little baby. Can't ask for anything better, for real. Love you, little dog. And they were together for many years. You can see all these old pictures of them together. They're no longer together now because I don't know why, but they were together since middle school. Okay? Middle school, little kids. So, he, has a background with this girl. I don't know if he broke up with her, but either way, the woman is involved in some sketchy mess. Okay. And then this is the father. This is Jamal and Jamal's dad. Okay. And this is little Jamal and Jamal when they were little. So they go way back, y'all. They go way back. But this is crazy to hear that the mom is a drug dealer. Now, it's not really crazy because I kept telling y'all in part 1 and part 2 that mom was a drug dealer. But that finally was exposed, okay, that she is a well-known drug dealer. And she is the reason her little baby was kidnapped. Now, let's take a look at this news coverage of this crazy story. Right now, currently the child is still in child custody because the mom is out here acting up and she in jail. So... and apparently the other extended family are no good either. So it's like, guys, there's really not any capable people to take care of this kid in that family. So let's get into this news coverage right here. They do a pretty good job of covering this update.
Turning now to a disturbing story. New details from the abduction of a 7-year-old boy in Milwaukee.
The DA's office filing formal charges against a 25-year-old accused of being one of the masked men who took Jamal White at gunpoint last Friday. Court documents painting a disturbing picture of the alleged role Corey Williams played that day.
For more details tonight, we're joined in studio by Adam Reif. Adam?
Well, Natalie and Jessup, authorities say this was a botched robbery that turned into a ransom case. 7-year-old Jamal White dragged into a car at gunpoint last Friday when 3 would-be robbers did not find their intended target. One of the men arrested said it was all the idea of a 14-year-old boy. The original plan was to rob Jamal White's mother, according to suspect Corey Williams. Williams was arrested and charged with 3 felonies for being the driver last Friday. A 14-year-old boy and 38-year-old man were also arrested. Williams claimed Jamal's mother was a known drug dealer who flaunted her money. Williams drove his girlfriend's Jeep. The other 2 brought guns, but when they did not see Jamal...
Oh, yeah, I didn't clarify. So that Jeep right there that you see that's circled, that was Corey Williams' girlfriend's car. And what they did was they removed the license plates so that they could use that Jeep to go rob them so that, they couldn't trace it back to his girlfriend. Another thing that I didn't mention is that, basically, let me clarify this up. The news report clarified this up, that Corey Williams is the 27-year-old. There was a 38-year-old that was arrested, and then the 14-year-old is supposed to be arrested. So that's 3 people involved that have been arrested. So that's why I got the ages mixed up. It's actually Corey Williams is 27, but the other man that was arrested is the 38-year-old. But that car that you see circled, that is Corey Williams' girlfriend's car. That's a mess. Going here, removing her license plate and everything, y'all. A hot mess. And hi, Laura. Nice to see you, sweetheart. Actually, the little boy wasn't riding his bike alone during this incident. The father was riding in the car next to the little boy, and they were like racing, racing his son. He was racing his son while he was driving. So he was with his son, but more so in the car while the kid was riding his bike. So either way, the kid probably not going to want to be outside anymore. And what makes this even more sad is that the mom abandoned him and the father abandoned him when he needed them the most. His father abandoned him during the incident because he ran in the house, shut the door, didn't even get his son, which was crazy to me. So the kid felt like his father failed him. Then his mom failed him because when he was kidnapped, he overheard a conversation between Corey Williams, his kidnapper, one of his kidnappers, and his mom saying, The mom saying that she was going to go pick him up, and she never did. And now this kid is in CPS. His mind is probably all jacked up now, thinking his whole parents that he trusted to keep him safe abandoned him. Ugh, so sad.
Jamal's mother, they went to his father's house to rob him instead. Surveillance video shows the 14-year-old and 38-year-old jump out of their car with guns drawn. When Jamal's father ran inside, they grabbed the boy. Video from a neighbor captured his screams. Father ran inside, they grabbed the boy. Video from a neighbor captured his screams.
This part makes sense now. So it was the 38-year-old and the 14-year-old were the two that came out of the car. Corey Williams, who was in that mugshot, he was in the driver's seat. So he was the one transporting them. So he's involved in that too. It's a conspiracy. So that now all makes sense. We got all the three parties that were inside that vehicle are currently arrested.
Kidnappers sped off to Williams's house. The 38-year-old called Jamal's mother and demanded $100,000 plus jewelry in exchange for the boy. They were to meet at a nearby park. Jamal later told police he heard his mother on the phone say she would come pick him up, but he teared up in the interview when he said she never showed.
Dang, that's sad. Did you guys hear that? He teared up in the interview when she never showed. So that is clear evidence that people are saying, oh, the little boy doesn't know what's going on. He does, you guys. He felt abandoned by his mom and his dad, who left him to get kidnapped. When he's screaming for his dad, his dad didn't even come out the house. Dad shut the door and left his child out there to be kidnapped. Can you imagine the trauma this child is in? Two unfit, negligent parents who failed this little boy. The little boy teared up and cried because she never came. That is so sad. This child's going to he's going to grow up with this fear of abandonment and traumatized, and probably going to impact his relationships in the future. This is so sad how kids are raised in these families who, treat them poorly, neglect them, aren't there for them. And then it ends up causing them to be psychologically damaged when they grow up, and they end up harming other people or ended up being in very toxic relationships because of the trauma they faced as a child. So sad.
Williams told investigators the other two kidnappers talked about hurting Jamal to show they were serious. But that never happened. When an Amber Alert went out around midnight, the other two left Williams's house. And when police moved in on the duplex the next day, Williams hid in the attic. Jamal was safely recovered in the upstairs unit. Williams was found and arrested. The 14-year-old was later arrested at his house. A black handgun was found under a couch cushion in the basement. The criminal complaint says there are recorded phone calls in which the 14-year-old talks about the plan to rob Jamal's mother. And Natalie and Jessup, neither the 14-year-old or the 38-year-old have been charged yet. Their names have not yet been released.
Adam Reif, live in studio. Thank you.
So they haven't been charged just yet, but they are arrested pending the charges, and they're going to be facing felony. They're going to be facing felony charges. So they're not going to be getting out anytime soon. But this is all sad. Like, it's not a surprise to me. When I first talked about this story, I already told you guys from the very get-go that I felt something was fishy going on with this story. It didn't make sense. And I looked at their social media and I said, the reason why that kid was kidnapped was associated with some suspicious behavior of the family and the parents, and it had to do with the sale of drugs. And turned out that's exactly what this was. A ransom for drugs to target the mother. And this poor child is now faced with the trauma of feeling abandoned by his two protectors and who he perceived as his protectors. This is so sad because I hope this kid does not grow up with trauma and end up just as toxic as his parents are. And the sad part is, man, guys, like even the way the kid talks now, like there's a TikTok of him and he's all saying, "What's up, bruh?" and all this stuff. Like he kind of talks like his dad. I hope this kid does not grow up to emulate what he sees in his mom and his dad. This is so sad, y'all. Ah, man. it's crazy how what we suspected is exactly what it came out to be. What do you guys think about this tragedy? What is your take on it? I am curious to hear what everyone has to say. Um, yeah, just like Laura said, if you can't depend on your parents, who can you trust? Poor baby. Exactly. Like, who can this little child trust? And even the other family members, how come they have not put this kid with any of like the grandma, the father? It's just weird. Like, why? Or the cousins or sons of cousins. It seems like all these people are not fit to have this kid because the kid is still in child protective custody. So sad. I would take the kid. But all right, guys, that is it. Like, comment, and subscribe.